Hello, and thank you for joining us on Hello, Mayor. I'm City of Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. On September 1st, the City of Las Vegas welcomed a new city manager, Mike Janssen. While he's new to the city manager position, he certainly is no stranger to Las Vegas. He joined our city staff 26 years ago as an engineer and went right through the ranks, holding several leadership positions before in public works, being unanimously voted into the city manager role. So welcome, Mike, and I am so excited. I don't know why you took on all these headaches that you're going to have, but certainly always smiling, and you look just as handsome and good as you did when you first came to the city, though I wasn't here. So tell us a little bit about where are you from? I know you were not born and raised here.
Yes, Mayor. Well, it was great. First off, it's great to be here with you, Mayor. I've truly enjoyed all the conversations we've been having over the years. And so my story is I grew up in Queens, New York, and area Queens that my dad grew up in and my mom moved to when she immigrated to the United States from Ireland. Ooh. She came to Queens when she was 16. And as the story goes, she met my dad at a dance. He could dance the fancy one, and the rest is history. And so I grew up in a household where my dad was a New York City police officer, and two older sisters who have been great sisters. And just growing up in Queens was a great place to grow up.
Well, I remember the days of a great deal older than you, but also being in New York. What a wonderful experience, and have a family. And where were you educated then?
So, Mayor, I was lucky enough. My parents really put a major focus on education, and they really made a point to send my sisters and I with an opportunity to go to a great high school in New York City. It was a college prep college because we had to all go to college, and so with that, I went to a college in upstate New York called Rochester Institute of Technology.
You didn't want to be a policeman like your dad?
It's funny you asked that. I actually did, and so I got a little pressure from my big sister who said, Mike, you really should go to college, but just in case, take the police test, take the fireman test. And so before I left for college, I took the New York City fireman test, and I really was kind of like, I'll give college a try, but if I get the call, I may just follow in Dad's footsteps as a public servant. And a few years later, I did get the call from the fire department, and I was already deep into college. I remember talking to my sister, and she said, you got to make a decision. And it was one of those decisions in life to stay the course in college and go the engineering route, or step aside and follow in my dad's footsteps. And I ended up staying in college. And I look back, it's one of those steps in life.
But how lucky for all of us. Did you start your career in engineering back in the New York area, or where?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough that the college I went to at RIT, it was mandatory that you had to do internships. Every year of college, you had to do an internship because they felt it was so important to your ability to get a job when you got out of college. So I was lucky enough to do 2 summers with the city of New York. I worked for the Parks Department, building parks all over the city. I also did an internship here in Las Vegas in 1992, working for a drainage engineering firm. And then I also worked for a contractor in New York. So I really had great opportunities as an intern. And it's part of the reason why one of the main things I focused on in my role as a director, when I was Public Works Director, was adding more internship positions for the city.
Love that.
Because it was such a great part of my life, getting a good job by having those internships.
So you must have had a relative out here or someone that said, come to Vegas already in 92, boom time?
Yes, Mayor, it's another great story. One particular blizzard that we had in New York City with snow, I was on the phone talking to my sister who had moved out here in 91, and she said, hey, Mike, I can give you free room and board if you can get a job. And so, lo and behold, I managed to get that internship, and that was really the first time that I saw the opportunity that Las Vegas could bring for so many people that would make it their home.
And a marriage made in heaven, because I'll tell you something, those winters back there are brutal, and in New York, goodness, I remember digging out everywhere. So here you come into Las Vegas and this particular job. Who was the person that interviewed you that time? Do you remember?
Well, it's another interesting story. So when I graduated college, through my internships, the city of New York offered me a permanent job. And so I said, okay, I'll go to the city. But while I was in college, I also took tests for the state of New York Department of Transportation.
Oh,
and at the
my.
same time, I got the offer with the city of New York. A few months later, I got an offer for the New York State DOT to be a civil engineer, not on parks, but on highways all over New York City. So my initial first 3 years out of college was with the New York State Department of Transportation. And once again, I'm on the phone with my sister after a particular blizzard, and she said, they're hiring a lot of positions like you do, Mike. I'll start sending you some job apps. She sent me a job app from the city for an engineering associate, which is really entry-level engineer. And lo and behold, I got called for an interview. I do remember the 3 men who interviewed me, and I got the job. I got the job working in land development.
Well, how fabulous in your background, transportation. We all sit on a lot of committees, and you're always there at the RTC, the Regional Transportation Commission meetings, and to have all that knowledge. But some of the projects you've worked on through this period of time that how many years were you in New York working?
About 3 years after college for the New York State Department of Transportation. So I worked on Long Island Expressway, bridges, all kinds of highways all over New York City, in the Bronx, in Brooklyn. But when I came out to Las Vegas, my first 5 years when I started at the city was in land development. And so all over the valley in the city where developers are putting up subdivisions, I was one of the engineers making sure that they were putting in our roads and our infrastructure, sewers, storm drains, putting them in right. And so one of my biggest projects in that period of my career was Summerlin. I was one of the main engineers for all of Summerlin West, all the infrastructure that went in Summerlin. And a few years later, I got an opportunity to join the traffic engineering division as a project manager. And my first boss was none other than our former city manager, Jorge Cervantes.
Oh, well, how fabulous. And I know, too, I remember you and I were talking about traffic downtown and the issues with the spaghetti bowl. And I thought you told me at that time, Project Neon?
Project Neon.
That we were having, I couldn't believe it, 400,000 vehicles a day. So you were involved in different projects like that?
Yeah, Mayor, what I would tell you is one of the first things Jorge said to me when I started working in traffic was, he said, hey, Mike, how do you feel about going to neighborhood meetings? And I said, hey, I'm okay with neighborhood meetings. He goes, well, we're going to send you to a lot of neighborhood meetings because everyone is a traffic engineer and everyone wants to talk traffic. And so a lot of my career in that field was going out, meeting with our citizens, meeting with property owners. And I think that time and that role was so valuable to me today because just such a big part of me has been meeting with people and trying to find out how can we help them? How can the city help them get to work safer? How can the city help their children get to school safer? How can we put in a trail system that they can enjoy on the weekends and at night? And so it all kind of just really ties together. But I worked on so many great projects in my career on the public works side, and you mentioned Project Neon, many elements of the Spaghetti Bowl in the Northwest that's under construction now. Just about every road in the city, when I look at a road in my 26 years, I can remember working on some element of that road. And so when you hear that, we've a great opportunity.
You own it. I have to say that. I know when lights are out, I'll call and you can get somebody on it right away. The things, what are you proudest of? Was there a particular project you'd worked on at any time during these years that you really thought that was the most fun but the most rewarding as well? Do you have a favorite?
I would tell you, Mayor, my proudest moment for me was the department that I was able to put together, the leadership team. We're only as good as our team. And I feel like the 6 years that I was Public Works Director, I had an outstanding team. We all knew what we had to do to make the city excel. Just having a team that you come to work and everyone was just completely collaborative, working together. It was the greatest. I told my staff before I took the city manager job, I told them in an email, I said, it was the greatest job I could have had was being the Public Works Director because I had such a great team. And when I say that, I worked on so many great projects. it's so short to list just a few, but I worked on great park projects. We're going to talk, I think, a little bit about Civic Plaza across the street.
Yes.
Started working on that. The Las Vegas Boulevard reconstruction.
The biggest thing we've ever undertaken, right?
Biggest project we've ever done. We're working on one now in Ward 5 on Rancho. That'll be a little bit bigger. It's all federally funded. But the fact is, infrastructure in our community, because we grew so fast, was such an important part of trying to make the city great. And so I've just been lucky enough to be a part of it over the last 25 years.
Well, and I think your leadership, it's all about, and I think that's key to everything, it's about personal relationships, being a good listener, trying to find a pathway to achieve whatever it is, the bigger goal. And you've just been such a wonderful leader. It's no wonder that the city was so excited to have you on now. And as we look to the future, I know even during my husband's 12-year tenure, and not quite as significant as right now, but it's always been about public safety. And I hope we have enough time that I can get to your thoughts for the future. But knowing public safety, I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, because I think in this role, with our goal as electeds to keep everybody safe so they'll want to live here, want to raise children here, want to invest here. Tell me about what's been happening with our safety and what's your future there.
Well, Mayor, you hit it right on the head. The number one priority for us for so many years has been public safety. We talk all the time about public safety, healthcare, and economic development as our three city priorities. All of our staff know it, they live it, they eat it, they breathe it. But public safety has been number one. And so just in the past month, nothing's been truer than our focus on public safety. You and I had a chance to open up a new fire station up in Sky Canyon.
Yeah.
6 minutes after the fire station's ribbon cut was done, a call came in and we're already servicing the residents. And then just a few days ago, we had the ribbon cut for the new Fremont Police Substation, a first of its kind, where we have partnership with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, our Department of Public Safety, and the Fremont Street Security Team. Nowhere else in the country has that been done. But what we know in the city of Las Vegas is tourists are so important to our downtown. And when we talk about importance of public safety for our tourists, everyone came together very quickly and in partnership. And so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the great partnership we have with Sheriff McMahill. He made our teams just see the value of having that substation downtown. So those are two examples recently, but there's so many other examples on the public safety side where we've been following the council's priority. I'll mention in last year's budget, we added 54 new positions on the public safety side. And when I say that, that's fire, that's DPS, and that's also additional positions at the metro side. And so it's been our focus and it will not change. We're always going to be working to make our citizens, our business owners feel like they live, they work in a safe place.
Well, and two, I hear all the time from people who come here to invest and become part of the community, there is no place like doing business with the city, because you go to other communities, what our city does as a team, rapidly but thoroughly and very much standing behind the decisions. It takes 3 and 4 years in other communities. And I brag about it all the time. I'm not saying I'm popular when I'm doing it, because nobody likes to be outdone. But with your leadership now in this, I think, I don't know under public safety, how about animal control? We can't spend a lot of time on it, but is that considered part of your public team?
It absolutely is, Mayor, and it's just an important part of our community. Everyone feels for animals, cats, dogs, and farm animals all together, and when there is an animal that's in need, our public, our citizens want us to help that animal, and so we have a good partnership with the Animal Foundation. We have dedicated animal control staff that really care about animals, and it kind of goes back to, you know, if you have staff that really care about what they do, and our animal control team unbelievably cares about animals, good things happen, and we're in a position to make our community proud of our efforts.
And of course, so many people during the pandemic adopted dogs, brought them in, and we have more calls than any other government entity here in Southern Nevada. It's astronomical, actually. But anyway, moving on, talk a little bit, if you would, some of the areas of concentration. I know after public safety, for most people evaluating for their community, it's health care.
For sure, Mayor, and I'll tell you, we're so lucky. A lot of hard work, many years trying to bring the UNLV School of Medicine into our medical district. But it wouldn't have happened without us doing all the groundwork to establish that medical district as the amenity that it is for our community. And when I say our community, for all of Southern Nevada, every one of us knows someone who's needed some medical support somewhere in the medical district. And so bringing the medical school to a reality, if you look across the country, where there's a medical school, there is major investment in medical services that start coming because you have that medical school. And that's exactly what we're seeing all over the medical district. We have a new memory care facility that just opened. We have a new cancer facility that just opened. An OBGYN facility is under construction. We have an ambulatory care clinic that's going to be coming. So many projects, and I think it's just exciting to see when one of those projects open and you have a friend, a family member, or a relative who's been able to say, hey, I was down there, I got some treatment, I'm feeling good. There's nothing more rewarding than that, knowing that our community's taking advantage of the medical district.
And it is a marriage, too, for us, the city, with the county, because it's University Medical Center, the public entity for medical care in all Southern Nevada, already level 1 trauma unit and burn unit, doing such wonderful work. I know, and everybody that's driving around town right now knows the bird, the little orange cone everywhere. Yes. What are we doing on West Charleston?
Yeah, so a lot of work's going on in what's called complete streets. And when we talk about complete streets, Mayor, what we're talking about is many of our streets, I call them vintage 1950s and 60s streets in the downtown area. They're streets where they were pre-ADA, so there wasn't a requirement for having the sidewalk wide enough for folks in wheelchairs. Many of the streets have no lighting, they don't have trees. So what we're doing in our high pedestrian areas like Charleston, like the medical district, like the arts district, like all over the downtown core, we're going in, we're rebuilding those streets. We're putting in wider sidewalks, we're putting in nice shade trees, we're putting in really bright lights for the sidewalk and the street, and doing a variety of other enhancements, public artwork, landscape medians, just making the aesthetics of the street really enjoyable for the worker, the resident, whoever it is. They really see the difference. And so that's what's going on right now on Charleston. We just recently completed a similar job on Shadow, and another one is under construction on Pinto. So we are extremely busy, but we're doing it where the need is, and the medical district is at the top.
And you're doing it also for the BRT, so if you could explain that a little bit, knowing that you've been in the public transportation business.
We talk all the time, Mayor, about working to get our share of federal funds towards projects, and the Maryland project is a great example. We have a great partnership, your role as the RTC board member. We have a great partnership with RTC, and we collectively have worked with the RTC to plan that Maryland bus rapid transit project that will link the airport, UNLV's main campus, downtown Las Vegas, and the medical district. Almost 10 miles of infrastructure, almost all entirely federal funds, great support from our federal team, and partnerships. That's how things like that happen.
So we finally, but that is going to be realized within the next couple of years. I mean, we are working on that and to move people around. Now tell me a little bit, I know we've had such issues across the country, but more importantly here, because this is our home, residences. So many people, because of inflation, are caught in the crunch, especially those who are on fixed income, our seniors, the need for housing.
I'll tell you, Mayor, it's very surprising because when the interest rates went up, we thought there would be a reduction in demand. But what we're seeing is people all over the country want to move to Southern Nevada. They want to move to the city of Las Vegas. So what's been most exciting is every corner of our city, on the western edge of Summerlin, the northern edge up by Kyle Canyon and Ward 6, new developments in historic West Side, East Las Vegas developments all over downtown. I'll just tell you that we were recently looking at some numbers, and just in the downtown area, there's over 2,000 residential units that are either in planning, under construction, or soon to be occupied. How do you know that's happening? Because you're seeing cranes pop up all over downtown where developers, many of them out of other states, out of Austin, Texas, out of Nashville, they're coming to Las Vegas because you hit it earlier. It's a great place to develop, and there's a need, and housing is just one of those things. They can't build them fast enough because so many people want to come to our community. So just
a couple
exciting.
Of those very places, exactly because of the efficiency and camaraderie that's in this city to get through planning, to get through everything. They would come in with one project, and within months, because of this communication, they're into their second and third and fourth, and there's so much going on. So what about the residences? Are we doing anything and wards when we talk about that? Ward 1 is around the area of UMC and going west. What are we doing around the medical center? What are we doing in the heart of the city, which is both wards 3 and 5, because West Side with Councilman Creer and Ward 3 with Councilwoman Diaz? What's happening in these older areas?
A lot of exciting projects. So developers are seeing that a lot of folks want to live in a downtown area. They want to live in an area that's walkable, that has restaurants nearby, that just has the downtown vibe that, quite honestly, Mayor, you and I experienced it growing up in New York City. And so a lot of people want that vibe. And so what you're seeing is developers building what we call mid-rise projects and high-rise. Right in Symphony Park, we have one of the first large high-rise projects that's under construction right now. I believe it's 23 stories tall, but multiple other projects like that are popping up all over downtown, all over in the areas you mentioned, areas that traditionally hadn't seen as much interest, but now people want to live in those areas. So it's really an exciting time for our entire development team because everyone has the same understanding that this is great for Southern Nevada, it's great for the city of Las Vegas, and it's putting a lot of people to work, loads of workers.
Well, and two, we have the Arts District. You could speak about that a little bit, but how you're working so diligently with the hotel owners that are privately owned. This isn't part of the big conglomerate. This is about the old Las Vegas feel where you're getting maybe a bargain or having something. Everything's costly, I understand, but for our small businesses, so much, and our International Innovation Center. I mean, there's not enough time to get it out fast enough to ask you. Talk a little bit about the innovation, the International Innovation.
The International Innovation Center was something we started a couple years ago. It was so successful that we now have 2 International Innovation Centers downtown. We have one right off Lewis and 4th, and we have one right off Main Street near Gas. And what we're doing in those facilities is we have tech companies all over the country. Some cities are struggling more with how to really welcome their employers. And what we've done well is we've welcomed tech companies with open arms to come to our downtown. We're building the workforce so that when someone comes to town, they got to have the workers that can do the work. So these International Innovation Centers are giving a variety of tech companies an opportunity to test the waters, to see what we're like, and many of them, the other day I just heard there's over 50 new positions from 3 tech companies that moved downtown because they love downtown and they love the way that we do business. They love the way the atmosphere is just continuing to get better and better with all the new bars and restaurants you mentioned in the Arts District, Mayor. So our International Innovation Centers really go to that third priority of council, economic diversification. And the companies that are coming downtown, they're hiring tech workers, folks that work on computers. We opened up a new community center in Ward 5. It's a high-tech center, one of the first, focused on teaching kids how to work with 3D printers, how to do a variety of new computer programs so that the workforce can be able to support these companies that are moving from many other cities across the country right into our downtown.
And also in the heart of the old part of town, we've got gardening and hydroponics and some of those exciting new ventures that are helping the community, providing jobs, but also providing produce, correct?
True, Mayor. It's an incredible project was the grow facilities that we're doing right now we have one underway in the historic West Side, and it's producing tons and tons of fresh fruits and vegetables. And it's incredible how efficient these systems can be in terms of water use, power use. And so at the end of the day, we're bringing new food to areas that have had food deserts where they haven't been able to as easily get fresh fruits and vegetables. This particular project has really been turning out real well, and we see a lot of opportunity to do more of them.
And tell a little bit, if you can, just briefly cover culture down here. I know the jewel of the desert is right there in Symphony Park, aptly named. What do we have going on there with our museums and our neon and hopefully the atomic energy?
It's so exciting how
And
much
art.
culture is going on downtown, and not a day goes by that someone isn't talking about seeing a show at Smith Center, visiting the Neon Museum, visiting the Mob Museum, visiting one of our great cultural destinations downtown. It's truly become a destination for all things cultural. I'll hear stories of parents taking their kids to the Children's Museum in Symphony Park. I'll hear parents talking about our musical lessons that we have over at the Fifth Street School. We just had a book festival this past weekend. It was the largest book festival attendance ever. We've been having this festival for years, and we had great weather, but I think it just shows you how we've done a real significant effort to be able to promote the cultural side of our city. And right across the street, we're going to have a great outdoor civic plaza that's going to continue that. It's going to be programmed year-round, where we'll have additional events. But needless to say, Mayor, wherever you look throughout downtown, we've got a cultural facility that's really been treating our residents and our visitors to something special.
Talk just briefly, if you would, across the street from this beautiful building, now under construction with cranes and everything, our Civic Plaza.
Yes, our Civic Plaza has been in the works for a number of years, and at the end of the day, what it's going to do is we're going to have over 1,000 city employees centrally located in our City Hall complex. And when I say the City Hall complex, it's this building we're in here. There's about 500 employees. It's 200 employees that are in our municipal court building. Then in Civic Plaza Building 1, there'll be another 300. The project will be open December 1st of next year. We'll be moving our staff in by December 1st. We'll have our first event in the outdoor plaza area. We have a second building that's being built for some select tenants. We're working with a number of tenants that we think are really going to add value to the downtown area. We'll be bringing some leases shortly to City Council for consideration. But then I also would be remiss if I don't mention, we're planning for the future. We looked at our 2050 master plan, and it said we're going to grow to be over 1 million population. We're going to need additional city employees to run that city. So in Building 1, we have a 4th and 5th floor that we're putting in as a shell, so that when the need arises, we have the capacity in that building. So really a lot of planning that is now, it's really, you can't miss it. We got cranes out there, and we're going to see it later.
And we just finished last year the new Muni Court building. I mean, everything is so exciting here. You can't sleep. We've got about a minute left. What do you want to do just in this year, Mike? Tell us if there's anything that you can, how do you keep up with it? You don't sleep because you love what you do too.
A couple of exciting things, Mayor. Working with the sheriff, where we're going to be building a new police substation in the Northwest, a new model of a substation that's going to service Sky Canyon and Providence. It's a really exciting new way to deliver additional public safety. We've got so many great park projects, pickleball. We talk about it all the time. We've
been working on that for 5 years, and boy, I'll say the plaza's got a real master place there.
So yeah, the exciting stuff, I think, is those things we're going to be adding to the community that our residents are really going to appreciate. We're knocking out some trail corridors, new parks, just wrapped up that new community center. So just a lot of great things that, again, we want Las Vegas to be a great place to live.
And you've lit up all downtown, which I love, and you can see the Strat doing so much, Atomic Golf opening there, goodness, the Circa and Plaza and El Cortez and the Fremont. There's so much happening, but we're out of time, and I know Mike's going to be a frequent guest on this show. So thank you at home for watching, and make sure you never miss an exciting episode. Just scan the QR code on your screen to subscribe to our newsletter, and we'll see you next time for another episode of Hello, and God bless Mike Janssen.